And the title of my message today is Your Life is Safe in the Lord's Hands. Your life is safe in the Lord's hands. And doing my due diligence and my meditation time and my prayer time, God was giving me the message. He said, a lot of my people feel like they tired, they burn out, they stressed out, and life is happening, and they feel like I have forgotten them. But remind my people today that I haven't forgotten about them, because their life is safe in my hands.
Amen.
In life, sometimes things just doesn't go your way. You have big plans and you have this huge vision of what your life is supposed to be like. And sometimes things just doesn't go the way that you've planned them. You thought that you'd be working for that company forever, but you got laid off. You thought that your marriage would last forever, and things just didn't work. You thought that you were in good health, but all of a sudden your health, it starts to fail. Man. These are things that you didn't plan for. Things oftentimes in life happens that are totally out of our control. Man. With the hustle and the bustles of life, we find ourselves at times working 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet. And with working these 2 or 3 jobs and trying to figure things out, those things makes us begin to fear, and we start to worry, and we begin to stress. You find yourself sitting there trying to figure out how I'm going to pay my rent, how I'm going to pay my mortgage. You're trying to figure out how I'm going to put food on the table, how I'm going to pay my car note. And all of these things can be very stressful. They can be very stressful. Yes, the agony that comes from knowing that you tried your best and you put your best foot forward and things just didn't work out. How you planned them. They can be physically exhausting. There's no worse feeling in the world than knowing that you tried your best at something. You gave it your all and things just didn't work out. Has that ever happened to anyone, knowing that I tried my very best? I put my best foot forward and I didn't get the results that I wanted. Has it ever happened to you all? And sometimes life things just doesn't go the way that you planned them. It just doesn't work out. And all of these things causes us to worry about how we're going to make it. And we start to worry and we start to feel, because when you turn on the TV, you see all of this crazy stuff that's going on in Greenville County and Lawrence County and Spartanburg County, and those things begin to make you worry and you stress and you fear and you start to feel burnt out. All of these pressures of life, sometimes it just get the best of us. Yes. And sometimes we sit there and we figure out and we try to think about things out, and we just, truth be told, we just be like, if it's not one thing, it's just another. If it ain't one thing, it's another. And as we look at this text, we have this psalm. We have King David, who was up in age during the writing of this lyrical poem. David was in Mahanaim in the wilderness, where he was dealing with great grief and going through a crisis from the rebellion that came from his son by the name of Absalom. King David is in the wilderness because he is running from his son who wants to kill him. Not only does his son want to kill him in this passage of text, his son also wants to take his kingdom. This is one of the most popular texts in all of the Bible. Yes. And we have one of the most recited forms of biblical text that is known to those who are churched and those who are also considered unchurched. It is not uncommon to hear Psalm the 23rd chapter on a hip-hop album on the likes of rapper T.I. and DMX. It is not uncommon to see Psalm the 23rd chapter tattooed on the body of young adults and millennials all around the world. Even though this passage of scriptures are known to those who doesn't know much about the Bible, they don't know much about the church, they can recite Psalm the 23rd chapter. That's right. In fact, if we could take it all the way back, this is probably one of the first texts, biblical texts, that you probably memorized as a child. If you're with me, say amen.
Amen.
They can recite the 23rd chapter because this passage, it's connected with those who are going through heartache, pain, and disappointment. And during the writing of this text, King David is not in the best place spiritually, mentally, or emotionally. And it's going through, and during this tough time, he would find himself in the sunken place. When I say the sunken place, it's the lowest of the lows. The sunken place is a place where you've lost your identity. The sunken place is where you in this chaos, you in this rut, and you just can't find yourself. You can't find yourself. Say sunken place.
Sunken place.
I've been there. Have you all been there before?
Amen.
And in this lowest point in King David's life, King David, when life has happened, when his back was totally pinned against the wall, and where it seemed like there was no way out, David had to go back and think about all that God had done for him. This is why Psalm 103 says that forget not what the Lord has done for you. And thinking about all that God had done for him when he was in this depressive funk, he had to come back to himself. And thinking about the goodness of the Lord and with all that the Lord had done for him, the first thing that he says in this text, he says that the Lord is my shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd, and I shall not want. The Lord is my shepherd. And doing my due diligence and my research, I found out that the relationship with a sheep and a shepherd is one of the most interesting relationships ever. It's so important because the relationship between a sheep and a shepherd requires 100% trust.
Yeah.
A sheep is one of the most gullible and naive creatures on the face of this earth. If sheep doesn't have a relationship with the shepherd, then they don't even have the common sense to move forward from the land when the grass is all dried up. They need guidance of a shepherd to lead them by the green pastures for survival. If sheep doesn't have a shepherd to guide them, they will walk right off the cliff and kill themselves. If sheep doesn't have a shepherd, they are in constant danger by being utterly destroyed by wolves. Here's an interesting fact about sheep. If a sheep falls on its back, it doesn't have the ability to turn itself backside up like most creatures. If a sheep falls on its back, it don't have the ability to turn itself backside up. And the fear of it being on its back will cause the sheep to die and to have a heart attack because of the feelings of being helpless. Sheep's entire life depends on a shepherd, and a sheep can't make it without a shepherd. And we are like sheep, and we have to trust God as our shepherd. We can't make it without God and without a shepherd, because as we look at all that we've been through, all of the tough times, and being in these difficult situations, you all are still here.
Yes, amen.
All that you've been through, you still here. All of the heartache, the pain, the disappointment, you still here. When you want to kill yourself, when you thought yourself was going to be utterly destroyed, when you was turned backside up, when you was looking up, you had to look up to the Lord and cry out to the shepherd, and you're still here. You're still here. And it's by the grace of the Lord, because God is not finished with you. God has something in store for you because of the shepherd. Sheep entire life depends on the shepherd. The shepherd. And you're still here. And it's the shepherd who has carried you because your life is safe. Your life is safe in the hands of the Lord, because the Lord is my shepherd. And I shall not want. And just think about all that you've been through. Think about all that God has done for you. And just like King David came back to himself, when you think about all that God has done for you, it will make you come back to yourself. And you come back to yourself. And when you think about all of the goodness of the Lord, it'll make your soul cry. Hallelujah.
Amen.
Because the Lord is my shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures, and he leadeth me beside the still waters. See, God will take care of you because your life is safe in his hands. God will take care of you no matter what you're going through. God will take care of you. I know the slogan by Allstate say you're safe in Allstate hands, but no, your life is safe in the hands of the Lord. Your life is safe in the hands of the Lord. And when God is walking with you and leading you, you don't have to worry about where your next meal is going to come from. You don't have to worry about where you're going to stay. That's why in Matthew 25 and 26, it says that therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life, what you shall eat or what you shall drink, nor yet for your body, what you shall put on. Is life not more than meat, and the body more than raiment? Behold, the fowls of the air, for they sow not, neither do they reap, nor gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father leadeth them and provide for them and take care of them. And how much are you all? If God take care of the birds and the fowls and all of this stuff, how much us as human beings will God take care of us? Your life is safe in the Lord's hands.
Yeah. Come on now.
Your life is safe in the Lord's hands. Here's my first point. God will lead and provide for you. God will lead and guide for you. God will lead and guide for you. Get that in your spirit. God will lead and provide for you. I know you may feel lost right now. I know it feels like God is not with you. I know it feels like your life is in complete chaos right now, and your life is in full and it's in need of direction. But that's why the Bible says, acknowledge the Lord in all of your ways, and the Lord shall direct your path.
Amen.
Because God will lead and guide you. Acknowledge God and call upon the name of the Lord, and acknowledge God as your shepherd, and God will lead you and guide you. And God has a way of placing us in all of the right places at all of the right times. I'll say that again, Holy Spirit. God has the ability to place us in all of the right places at all of the right times. Your life is safe in the Lord's hands.
Amen.
It's safe, it's safe, it's safe.
Amen.
And when you're walking with God and God is walking with you, God never said that the road would be easy. God never said that the road wouldn't get rough. God never said that you wouldn't be afraid. In fact, there's going to be times when you want to quit. There's going to be times when you want to faint. There's going to be times when you want to cave in. But God will lead you. God will lead you by the still water. And God will give you this peace that surpasses all understanding.
Amen.
During the time of the storm, God promised you to give you peace during the time of the storms. And God will restore your soul from feeling hurt, disappointed. People treat you some all kinds of ways. You're going through hell and high water in your life. You feel like I just want to quit. You say, Lord, I'm tired. Lord, I don't know if I can make it. I don't know if I can keep going forward. And you're tired. And you just feel like I'm tired. And I'm just tired. And you just sit there, I don't know if I can do it. And I don't know if I can do it. But when you cry upon the name of the Lord will give you peace in the storm. The Lord will restore your soul. Just cry out on the name of the Lord and say, Lord, I'm just tired. I'm tired. And I know what it's like to be tired and to be burnt out and to be in a sunken place and to feel like, Lord, I'm just out of gas. I'm just out of gas. But guess what the text says? The text says he will restore your soul. He will restore my soul. And he leadeth me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. And yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. And yea, I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. And yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, because thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff. They comfort me. They bring me great comfort. They bring me great comfort. Yea, though I walk through the valley, I ain't scared of nobody. I ain't scared of nothing. Because God is with me. And wherever God is with me, I walk with confidence at all times. With boldness, knowing that God is with me. I can walk with my head up. I don't have to walk with my head down, because God is with me. And yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no man. Because God is with me.
Come on now.
Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they shall comfort me. See, every single day that you wake up, you're walking in the shadow of death. Every single morning that you decide to get your keys, to go sit in your car and to crank up your keys and to get your car started and get going, you're walking in the shadow of death. Every time you crank up the car, every time you leave your house. And guess what? But I will feel no evil. I will fear no evil, because thy rod and thy staff, they shall comfort comfort me, and nothing shall by any means harm me, because I trust in the Lord thy God. And if God is walking with me, I will fear not, because what can man do unto me when the Lord is on my side? The Lord, your life is safe in the Lord's hands. Here's my third and final point. I told you I wasn't going to be too long. I ain't been too long, have my wife. My third and final point. Don't worry about your enemies. Amen. Don't worry about your enemies. Amen. Don't worry about your enemies. See, in this text right here, see, even though King David was led to flee to the wilderness, God not only took care of him where he was, but he didn't lack anything. Even in his wilderness, he had no lack. And God was providing for him supernaturally. God not only provided for him supernaturally where he had no lack, God gave him supernatural protection in this wilderness from his enemies. See, God will protect you. And a lot of you all been letting your enemies weigh you down. Some of y'all had enemies on your job and people out in the community who's been trying to slander your name, and that's totally fine. See, the reason that they are hating on you is because it's evident that God is with you and that God is walking with you. And every time you turn around, you're getting blessed, and they don't understand why you're always getting blessed. And they've seen you go through hell and high water. They've seen you go through your ups and downs, and this type of blessing, it brings about enemies. And some of you all have let your enemies weigh you out so bad that you'd have thought about leaving your job. You let your enemies weigh you out so bad that you even thought about moving. But no, you don't have to move, because God said that you should be blessed in the city. You should be blessed in the field. And your enemies shall come in one way, but your enemies shall flee 7 ways. Because God is getting ready to prepare a table for you in the presence of your enemies. God is getting ready to bless you in the overflow right in front of your enemies. Right in front of the people who crucified you. Right in front of the people who said your life would amount to that. God is going to prepare this table for you in the presence of your enemies. There's no need of blocking somebody on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. No, people need to see what God is doing in your life. People need to see that glow up. Because the same people who said that your life would amount to that, God is going to prepare a table for you in the presence of your enemies. And not only will he prepare a table for you in the presence of your enemies, in the words of my late grandfather, Sam Jones, he always say, boy, the tables in life, they always turn. See, God will not only prepare that table for you in the midst of your enemies, he'll also turn the table. Yes. He'll turn the table. And that's why I tell people, always be mindful how you treat people. Because the same people that you pass and going up, and you looking down on them, when you going down, they're going to be the same ones you looking up to you. So you better be careful how you treat people. Because you don't know what season people are in life. You don't know what people are going through. You don't know what God is doing for them. That's why you always treat people humble. Because guess what? In the words of my late grandfather, Sam Jones, boy, them tables in life, they always turn around. God will prepare a table for you in the presence of your enemy. And he'll turn that table. He'll turn that table. He'll turn that table. And they have to see all that God is doing for you. They have to see that them slandering your name, they talking bad about you, they treat you some kind of way, that it didn't prosper. It didn't prosper. It only prepared you to go closer to your destiny. And they need to see that nice table that God has prepared for you because of your obedience and because you trust in him. Your enemies need to see that the table turn. Say turn, turn, turn. Not only will God prepare that table for you in the presence of your enemies, but God will turn it. He will turn it. Get ready, because your life is safe in God's hands. And it doesn't stop there, because God said that he would anoint my head with oil, and that my cup runneth over. And that means that when my cup runneth over, that means blessings on top of 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 blessings. Everywhere I go, I'm blessed. The text says, the Bible says that I'm blessed in the city. I'm blessed in the field. I don't have to move to New York. I don't have to move to LA. I don't have to go to Houston, Texas. Because wherever I go, if God placed me in the field, I'm still going to be blessed, because God on the inside of me, blessings on the inside of me. Wherever I go, I will be blessed. Crucify me, talk bad about me, do whatever you say, because when God's hand is on your life, it will be evident that God is walking with you. He'll prepare that table in the presence of your enemies. They need to see that glow up. I'm not blocking nobody on Facebook. They need to see that glow up. They need to see that same person who's there. My life on the mountain. And they need to see it. Everything that God is doing in your life, they need to see it. I'm not blocking nobody, because the text says that the Lord will prepare a table for you in the presence of your enemies. And surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all of the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. You don't have to worry about anything, because your life is safe in the Lord's hands. Your life is safe in the Lord's hands. My first point was, don't worry about your enemies. God created the smith that blew the coals in the fire. He will take care of your enemies. You keep being faithful to God, serving God, staying on bended knees, taking care of yourself, tithing, staying in your own lane. Don't get caught up in that gossip. Stay in your own lane. Don't worry about what they doing to the left, right. Stay in your own lane. God's going to take care of your enemies, because vengeance is of the Lord. Vengeance is of the Lord. My second point was, God will lead and provide for you. You don't have to feel burned out, stressed out. Stop worrying about your bills. Stop worrying about that car note. Stop worrying about that house. Stop worrying about that supervisor that's giving you a hard time. Stop worrying, because your life is safe in the Lord's hands.
Yes, sir.
My third point, do you trust the Lord with your life? Yeah, we always say, yeah, I trust the Lord. And we say, yeah, I trust the Lord. We put good stuff on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. We say that. But we say it just for likes and retweets. But deep in our heart, we really don't trust the Lord.
Come on now.
I want to ask you a question. Do you really trust the Lord?
Yes.
You know what I find interesting about this text? King David was going through hell, high water. He never would expect that his son Absalom wanted to kill him. Your own son wants your possessions, all that you've worked for. Your own son want to pull the rug from under your legs and make you trip up. Your own son want to utterly destroy you. And King David had to run to the wilderness. And he was depressed. He was heartbroken. And he was in pain. Your own family members stab you in the back and want to take your own kingdom, the very thing that you work for.
That's right.
And they taught us in marketing, I'm a businessman, they taught us in marketing that the greatest forms of intellectual property is formed out of hurt, pain, and disappointment. During his hurt, his pain, his disappointment, he was still able to find God in that chaos. And he started off the text by saying, the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. And when you're going through hell and high water, can you still open up your mouth and say that the Lord is my shepherd? I shall not want. Even when it looks like you can't pay your bills, can you open up your mouth and say that the Lord is my shepherd? I cannot want. When it looks like you can't even pay your mortgage, can you open up your mouth and say that the Lord is my shepherd? I shall not want. When people are crucifying your name, people telling lies, people being deceitful, people slandering you because they see the blessing of the Lord on your life, can you still open up your mouth and say, the Lord is my shepherd? I shall not want. When life is not fair, can you still open up your mouth and say that the Lord is my shepherd? I shall not want. Can you trust the Lord in tough times and still open up your mouth and say, the Lord is my shepherd? The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. I shall not want. And even though David, it looked like he was defeated, his mouth didn't change. Even though he was in a sunken place, he still spoke positive. He still spoke positive, because the Bible says that the power of life and death is in our tongue. Speak those things that's not as if they were. Even though you're in the sunken place and you look defeated, don't let your conversation change. Even if you don't have a dime in your pocket, don't go saying that I'm broke. Say, nah, I'm in between blessings or something. Don't say I'm broke. Nah, I ain't broke.
Amen.
My mama, she gave me, I never forget this. I was in high school. My mama gave me a wallet. She said, don't spend $1 in that wallet. I didn't know where she was going with this. But what my mom was really teaching me is that even though my bank account may not say that I ain't broke because I got the dollar that she got in my pocket.
All right now.
Amen.
Even though you defeated, don't let your conversation talk in a way that's defeated. Walk firm with confidence, knowing that God is with me. Know that the Lord is my shepherd, and I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leadeth me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. And yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. And surely goodness and mercy, and surely goodness and mercy, and surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all of the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. To those who agree, say amen.
Amen.